Yes.
Hey, good evening, everybody. We have got Zack Peter with us for the first time on the channel. We are hugely honored. Introduced by Paula M. Zack and Paula's channel links are in the description box. And me and Jen have been laughing our heads off today at Zack's review of the Meghan video that he watched, so we didn't have to watch it. And get your questions in, folks, because some of the themes this evening are Meghan Markle, Diddy, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively. But whatever questions you've got, put them in the chat and we will get them to our guests. So first off, huge thank you for coming on, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Zack is amazing. I mean, I've been dying. I mean, you guys are gonna flood him with questions because the thing with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, the new petition, I was shocked. I still don't understand it. I saw you publish something on TMZ that Blake Lively is basically trying to dismiss the lawsuit because what the hell is that about?
Zack, before you answer that, could you give my viewers a breakdown of the whole story, please?
Honestly, I've been keeping half an eye on it, and it's all sorts of confusing. Like here, me and Sean had a dinner party last night. We had some friends over. I was like, right, I need to know what actually went down there, and nobody actually knows here. It's like it's a little bit of here, there, and everything.
Yeah, it's a bit all over the place. And this week especially, we've had I feel like it's been 15 new court filings that came in the last 48 hours. Because there are so many players in this game, they're all kind of coming at each other. And so right now we're just about to go into the discovery phase, which is, the first piece of the trial. Now that everybody's decided they want to sue each other, now we're getting into discovery, which is a messy phase, because that's when all the evidence starts to get picked apart. All the text messages and emails people get deposed. People are thinking Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman and Bradley Cooper are all going to get deposed. And if those depositions end up leaking, that's going to be super juicy. So it's going to be an interesting summer should we move forward. But to give you a recap, so Blake Lively was cast in this film, It Ends With Us, which is based on a book by Colleen Hoover. And it's basically a film about domestic violence and about a survivor. There are these two characters, Lily and Ryle, and Blake Lively was cast as Lily, who's the lead actress. And then Justin Baldoni, who's the director of the film, he was cast as Ryle, who's the main actor. And so production happened, the film came out, and then people noticed that they weren't, even though they were love interests and the two leads in the film, they weren't doing any press together. So people started to speculate if there was any drama between the two of them, only to then find out that there was a ton of drama between the two of them because she ended up filing a CRD complaint and accusing him of harassment on set. And she also said that a lot of the negative press that she was getting online was part of this retaliation campaign, or as the New York Times put it, a smear campaign that Justin Baldoni, who was the director, producer, and lead actor, launched against her. And so that's her claim. Those are her allegations. He came back and said, absolutely not. That's not true. That's not what happened. If anything, she tried to hijack the film with her and her husband, Ryan Reynolds. And they, basically were trying to bulldoze their way into not only taking control of the first film, but taking control of the sequel that Justin Baldoni already had the rights to. And so now it's just this big game of publicists and crisis PR teams and juggernaut attorneys that are all kind of going back and forth and taking shots at each other. I've been covering the case very closely, and it doesn't seem like Blake Lively has a strong case. It's not looking very good for her. From what we've seen so far, I'm leaning more towards believing Justin Baldoni, because not only does the evidence appear to be on his side, but just the way things realistically would have played out, it makes more sense with his version of events, where she's trying to play more legal tactics, and her case overall is a bit more circumstantial. So it's looking like he's probably the one that's telling the truth here.
Yeah. And the thing is that for people who don't know, because this is England, a lot of people are in England, CRD is a complaint that she launched that's supposed to be private, right, Zack? But apparently, Justin Baldoni, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Justin Baldoni was notified by the New York Post at 9:30 p.m. on Friday before Christmas that he had until the next day at 12 midday to answer to these allegations that people found out apparently since October. So they've been working on it because this CRT complaints are supposed to be private. And yet they had a hold of all of that in text messages that the New York Post redacted or altered or something like that. So, I mean, and that's what got everything started, that they were accusing him of all these things, right?
Yeah, so it was in the New York Times that the allegations were first published. And so Justin Baldoni is accusing the New York Times and Blake Lively and her team of basically orchestrating this smear campaign against him. And so what happened was she filed a CRD complaint, which is really just it's a formal complaint that's typically kept. It's a civil rights department complaint, and those are typically confidential. Those are not publicly accessible because they want to protect victims who are reporting these complaints. So she filed that. Somehow, not only did the New York Times get access to that complaint, but then they got access to all of these text messages between Baldoni and his team that were provided by Blake Lively and her team that were used to launch this bombshell article that made Justin Baldoni look like this crazy Hollywood predator. And so, as Paula said, they did reach out to him for comment, but they reached out to him at 9 p.m. and told him, you have until tomorrow morning to give us an answer. And so they gave him a 14-hour window that was mostly overnight on Christmas weekend, or the weekend right before Christmas, that like it wasn't a fair enough time to give him a chance to even respond to these bombshell allegations. So it does appear, and that's part of his lawsuit, is he's saying that the New York Times colluded with Blake Lively to smear his name.
Because he lost everything, right? He lost it.
As
He
of
was
right now,
dropped
yeah.
by WME. He was dropped by Ari Emanuel, whose podcast, he did a podcast, but now apparently that Phantom podcast, that oops, what he said is not available. So he was dropped immediately. He was apparently fired from, he even was taking an award that was given to him, right, Zach?
Yep. So I mean, he lost his agent dropped him at WME. Ari Emanuel, who's the CEO of Endeavor, William Morris Endeavor, Ari Emanuel has come out and said that they fired Justin Baldoni and that he's loyal to Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And it was kind of this bombshell interview. There was a live podcast taping that happened here in Los Angeles, but suddenly, after the podcast was recorded, the Freakonomics podcast came out and they said, oh, actually, we had a technical glitch. We don't have the podcast. We're not going to be releasing it after all. But somebody in the audience happened to have recorded it with their iPhone. So it ended up leaking online. And it showed that Ari Emanuel, who is the CEO of WME, had all of these things to say about how he's ride or die for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and he fired Justin Baldoni, which only helps Justin Baldoni's case because now he can actually prove damages. And so he did, as Paula said, there were a number of credits that he lost. There was an award that was taken away from him. I mean, it doesn't look like he's very hireable in Hollywood right now. So he really has to fight this all the way to the end to prove that he's going to, be that he's innocent, to save his career. And then we did see this week that Ari Emanuel has since stepped down as CEO of
Oh, he
Endeavor. And
has?
he just stepped down this week. He's now going to have more of it looks like a figurative board role. So he's on the board of directors still, but he's no longer acting CEO, which to me, the timing of that sounds a little
Plus,
suspect. Sounds like the board members weren't too happy with how this played out.
so juicy. Oh my God. And I have to ask you. Oh, sorry. I just have to ask you because, for example, one of the producers for Sean's channel, Ron, and I know probably Ron is watching, is a hardcore Tay fan. He even got engaged. He proposed to his fiance, and then one of Taylor, he did a video about it. And I told him, "You're gonna regret it." I know Ron is dying right now. I don't care. I told you she was us. But he proposed to his beautiful fiance during Taylor Swift concert in Scotland, right? That they went there, and I mean, I think she even acknowledged it or something like that, So Taylor Swift supposedly is very heavily involved, and I think she's pushing for this to be dismissed too because she would be deposed, right, Zach?
So her team is saying she had nothing to do with this. She had no involvement. She'd never known Justin Baldoni before the film. But now we're hearing that she may have possibly gotten one of the original composers on the film fired. We have one of the other main actresses who played young Lily in the film. She's come out and said that Taylor Swift was instrumental in getting her cast in the film. Justin Baldoni has also said that. And they said these in interviews prior to this whole legal scandal blowing up. So a lot of people are pulling old interviews that they were doing while promoting the film or even prior to that and showing that like Taylor Swift very much had some sort of involvement in this. Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni released text messages between he and Blake Lively. And in one of the text messages, she says that, you know, Taylor Swift and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, are her dragons. If anybody's familiar with Game of Thrones, one of the main characters is Khaleesi. So she referred to herself as Khaleesi. And she said that her two dragons are Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift. And she was using that to influence a scene that she wanted to write in It Ends With Us. And so she was basically, you know, sending a veiled threat to Justin Baldoni that like I have Taylor Swift and I have Ryan Reynolds and they think I'm right, so I think you should let me rewrite this scene.
But Zack, I've got to ask then, isn't this the most clever way to promote a film?
It would, yes, it would be a clever way. So not only is it a clever way to promote the film, but it would have been a great way to promote the sequel to the film. But because Justin Baldoni does own the rights to It Ends With Us, and then the second film is called It Starts With Us. And so, I mean, had they just been able to bury the hatchet and work through all the drama and kind of settle, it would have been great if they could have made the second film. But I think right now it's gotten so messy and it's taken away from even the point. Like everyone's so caught up in the legal drama that they don't even remember the point of the film, which was to bring awareness to victims of domestic violence.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you because people don't know how this got started, but it got started because Blake Lively got such backlash. I think we even did videos about it, Sean, with Ron, and we were talking about it way back when. That we were talking about it and said, "What the hell is this woman talking about florals?" You know, because what I went through with my ex-husband, and it was like, what? And she got so much backlash that she in her narcissism couldn't understand that people would hate her because, she was promoting her skanky hairline, which is really terrible. If I don't want my hair to look like hers, she was promoting booze. And this is in a film that, that it's about, domestic violence, and alcohol has, plays a part on that. I know that from firsthand. And she was like, grab your florals, we're gonna go. And I'm like, I remember, and I was like, because I was confused because I knew the book, so I thought it can't be the same book, right? Because I thought maybe it's a different movie. So when I saw it, I was like, what the hell is this? It's like, so she got so much backlash that she blamed Justin Baldoni. That's the whole point of it, right? That she blamed him, and this is why she wanted to crucify him, right?
Yeah, so she was promoting the film and it was very cheeky promotion. It was very much like grab your friends, wear your florals, come get your Betty Buzz, which is her canned cocktail. And so she was doing all of these, promotions for the film that made it seem like a fun rom-com. Like people thought like, oh, Reese Witherspoon's going to be pupping out and we're going to be, wearing our florals to the movies. But so once people realized like it's a really serious movie with a serious message, people felt like especially because the people that were going to watch it were people that were fans of the book, right? They were fans of Colleen Hoover, who has a book series. And so they were familiar with, as Paula said, with the subject matter. And so there was a lot of heat around her tone deaf approach to promoting it. And then her husband, Ryan Reynolds, him and Hugh Jackman would try to do like funny skits to promote the movie, which again, a serious movie like this, it's just weird that you would promote it in this way. So the audience kind of turned on her. And then there was this one woman, her name is Kirsty Flaw, and she was a reporter who interviewed Blake Lively years ago. And so she was like, oh, everyone's talking about how tone deaf Blake Lively is. Here's this interview. Here's this clip from this interview that I never revealed before, but I'm sharing it with you guys now, where we were just about to start the interview for another film that Blake was promoting, and Blake was pregnant at the time. And so she tells Blake Lively, congrats on your little bump. And it wasn't a little bump, it was a big bump. She was very well pregnant. It was very well known that she was pregnant. But so she tells Blake Lively, congrats on your little bump. And Blake Lively snaps back and she's like, congrats on your little bump. And so, and the reporter did not have, she was not pregnant, actually had fertility issues, but so she was poking fun at her belly. And so the reporter shared this on, I believe it was YouTube. And then from there, it kind of just lit up on fire and went viral. And then everybody started pulling all of Blake's old interviews and showing not only is she tone deaf during It Ends With Us and during this one interview with this one reporter, but everybody was starting to pull and dig up her old interviews and show that she's kind of been this diva and mean girl in Hollywood for a long time. And so that just, I mean, like things happen on the internet. When there's a viral moment, everybody jumps in on it. But then she tried to say that the reason that the internet was hating on her is because Justin Baldoni had to have orchestrated this smear campaign against her to try and take her down. But as I've pointed out a number of times, that doesn't even make sense because he had the rights to the second film. She's the main star of the movie. That, like, you can't make a sequel without your main actress, and it just wouldn't work to recast her. That why would he want to tank not only the current promotion for It Ends With Us, but why would he want to shoot his chances of potentially putting out a second film that he already had the rights to?
Becky
Mhm.
wants to know whether the film ended up doing well.
Very well, actually. I think it did. It brought in like over, I think 250 or 300 million. So it
350.
yeah. So, and it did really well, which is why in his new lawsuit against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and Leslie Sloan in the New York Times, they're suing for 400 million because not only is their reputation and their livelihood kind of squashed, but then you also have the second film that would have presumably done well, potentially better. That, you know, if the first one made 300 million, there's no, you know, they could have very easily made or matched that in the second film.
Got a question from Katz. I've heard the voicemails of his voice. He sounds super creepy. Do you feel this personally about him?
So yes, there was a voice note that was circulating that he sent to her. Some people read it as creepy. Some people, you know, the way I kind of read it is his tone of voice was very much like trying to appease her, like talking to her kind of like she's a kindergartner and like really like trying to feed her ego and be like, it's okay, you know, to like. So I read it as he was trying to appease her. And I think it was because from what we've heard, she's not only been difficult on a number of sets prior, but this one specifically, it seemed like everybody was walking on eggshells around her. And there was even a crew member that came out and shared that like nobody wanted to deal with her. There were, you know, a number of people on set that had apparently gotten fired because of her. And so everybody was like walking on eggshells. It was a very delicate dance that they had to play with her. So I understand where the tone of his voice is kind of like softer and, you know, it may seem a little creepy to some people. I didn't read it as creepy. I was just like, he's afraid to piss her off because the dragons are going to come and blow his head off.
And also because I think he was already being threatened that they were not going to promote the movie or they were going to walk out, which basically would have meant that they would have had to, that would have been a huge loss for them, you know, because she was already saying that she was not going to promote, she was going to quit. And I mean, this is in the middle of the movie, you know.
Yeah.
You know that, so he was like threatened, I guess, in a way, because he was already over budget. And can you imagine having to start again? There was a lot of things that I felt, and he's woke, you know, he's like, you know, he had this podcast, you know, that's the men bun, like he's talking about, you know, positive masculinity or something like that. And even his producer, who's known, or his co-host, who's known him for a long time, she ended up decamping to Ryan Reynolds. Bitch. And then sorry, and then she was like, I'm looking at this guy, it's like, I'm so glad he's not Latino like me, you know, because I would have, you know me, Sean, you know what I would have happened, you know. So I mean, I can imagine him being frustrated and having to talk her, like, you know. And I think she had a crush on him too. I think she got a crush on him, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, some of
We've
the
got
text
one.
messages are a little, some of the text messages that she sent to him are a little questionable.
We've got one more question on this, and then we'll go over to Meghan Markle and her new show. So Abundantly wants to know if Blake admitted to lying.
I don't think Blake is capable of admitting to lying. I think she believes her own lies. But no, so the latest is that she's fighting to have she's fighting to have Justin Baldoni's lawsuit against her dismissed. So it's highly unlikely that that's going to happen once all these motions to dismiss, once the judge kind of gets through all of that, we're going to move into the discovery phase. We're going to get the depositions, and then trial is set for a year from now. So it's set for March 2026. So we'll see. It's going to be a messy year ahead.
But the depositions have to be made by August. The depositions have to be made by August, which means Taylor Swift, Wolverine, Bradley Cooper, among a few of them, are going to be deposed, and hopefully these will be made public, won't they, Zach? Please say they
they're likely. We'll see if the entire depositions get published, because obviously there are some parts of them that I'm sure Blake Lively's team will fight to get redacted, but we'll likely get something in the press, some leaks as these depositions happen. They're due as of August 14th. As of right now, with all the delay tactics that Blake Lively's team is trying to do, they may try to push that deadline a little bit. They've been trying to push a lot of their deadlines, but we'll see. It's gonna be an eventful summer for sure. If they pull in Hugh Jackman and Taylor Swift, and they start pulling in the text messages, and once those get published, I know the internet's gonna go crazy with it.
Do you think it'll go to trial? Oh, sorry, Jen. Sorry, sir.
No.
I go back and forth. I mean, I think it would be crazy if it goes to trial, because that's when things get really messy and everybody's skeletons come out of the closet. So attorneys often fight for settlements outside of trial, because then you also don't know how a jury can go, right? A jury can be very unpredictable. So as of right now, it's looking like Blake and her team are fighting to go to trial. I know Justin Baldoni's team really wants to go to trial because they want to prove their innocence in all of this. So, I mean, it's looking like it's the trial may be happening. I would say 80-20.
Okay. So do you find that this is overshadowing the P. Diddy news at the moment? Because everyone seems to be so focused on the Blake Lively story here that that's kind of taken a real back step.
You know, it's so crazy. I'm shocked at how much the Diddy trial and the whole Diddy story altogether has just kind of faded a bit, right?
Yeah.
Like right now, everybody's talking about Blake and Baldoni, or like there are at least other stories that are coming up that like people aren't as hooked on the Diddy stuff as I think we were when it first came out, and everybody wanted to, you know, buy some baby oil and wear white to the party, you know, and now we kind of have forgotten about Diddy.
Do you think it's the calm before the storm because there's supposed to be a trial in May?
I think so. I think it's kind of laying low because they're building the case. I'm pretty sure Diddy's cooperating, and that's why there's not a whole lot of information that's come out. Is he's probably cooperating, and he's singing like a canary, and he's turning names over left and right. Because I would imagine if he sees the writing on the wall, and if he sees he's going down, he's not going to go down alone.
Do you think he'll do a last-minute plea bargain, or it will go to trial?
I think he'll try to do some sort of last-minute plea bargain, because the roster of people that he has are a really strong roster of like high-profile celebrities and politicians that like that holds more weight than locking him up. He may end up doing some time. He may do some sort of house arrest. He'll do whatever he can to reduce his own time, but the judge doesn't. I mean, how much he offered what, 50 million for bail, and the judge was like, absolutely not. So it doesn't seem like the judge is willing to play. So Diddy's only option now is to turn on all these other people, which I think holds a lot more weight than just him going down alone.
So watching with love, did you have a puke bag on standby, and what were your favorite parts?
Sean, I just wanted to show you a clip of Zack, and that I love. I think everybody's gonna love it. It's just, you know, let me just show it to you because I think it's a lot of fun. I have it on my X clearly. Wait 1 second here. So I don't know if you guys want to show it. I don't know if you want to show it, Sean, so I can.
Does it have music? It's not copyright music or anything like that.
Nothing like that. No.
So I see if you put it in the present area. Okay, got it.
Paula can do it all. She doesn't need us.
I know.
I guess what story headline this could be about, or a person it could be about. And I'm going to read this comment that came from People Magazine on one of their articles.
Okay.
So this comment on People Magazine says, well, another ridiculous name. Time to fully monetize the children too, making a full career out of zero accomplishments. What story do you think this is about? Or a person?
Yeah, that's where I went to as well.
So your first guess is wrong. Would you like to guess again?
Who else could this potentially? A name. Okay, so a bad name. Read it again.
Well, another ridiculous name. Time to fully monetize the children too, making a full career out of zero accomplishments. Hit by the tabloids a lot.
Denise Richards.
No. Well, you had your chance.
Kanye.
This is a comment left on a story titled Meghan Markle renames lifestyle brand America Riviera Orchard to As Ever.
I saw this morning.
Yeah.
How did I? Oh.
How did they not think? I don't know. So this article came
You
out
like Meghan Markle, don't you?
No.
about your girl, Meghan Markle. She renamed her orchard because it just seemed that she was, what she said, limited.
Was it her actual? Fuck off! I'm so sick of her.
Like,
Okay,
she's trying to be like a white Oprah with the orchards in Montecito.
she's trying to be the Black Gwyneth Paltrow.
I can't.
So she said she was black, didn't she? As well?
Yeah, I remember she called the royal family racist because people confuse her for Beyonce all the time.
Her show's coming out soon.
So less than a year after she debuted this orchard, she has rebranded this to be a lifestyle brand. So when she was making products and other things, and also the delay of the, obviously title we talked about for Netflix, this came at an appropriate time.
Just you saying like launching of an orchard, or what did you say? What was the
lifestyle brand?
Yeah, it's
Goop.
It's too much.
It's her Goop.
It is a Goop.
But like we did Goop, and then we did Poosh, and then
As Ever.
I can't anymore. But
Goop
like, does anybody who's like, yeah, let me read Meghan Markle's lifestyle brand website?
I know some mothers from the Southern Belt who would probably take a read, but I wouldn't necessarily myself.
Who
does she have a website, like a lifestyle website?
She used to have the TIG, remember?
Yeah, and
You
she shut
told me
that down
this, yes.
when she had met Harry.
Correct.
And
Who
then
she'd never heard of before. That's what she claims, not me.
I just
her words.
Just stop with that.
And that's the end of my fun game. Thank you for playing.
I actually liked that game. But wait, that was it with Meghan Markle?
Yeah, she just renamed it. And so not everyone's very happy with the name change. They're like, okay, like the name is horrible. Some are saying like As Ever. The original name, people looking at it when
what was the original name?
American Riviera Orchard. They had a bunch of things like obviously potentially.
And what's it called now again?
As Ever.
Let's just
now it's called As Ever.
We need to stop talking about this.
It's bad. Well, I mean, I get why she changed the name originally. It was very like white supremacist. Was that why she changed it?
I don't know.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
Right?
You're not wrong. Yeah,
But, like,
but the new one is terrible.
What was it called? The Confederate what?
American Riviera Orchard.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I mean, what do you make of all of it? And by the way, the brand is still not registered. It's still pending. So she doesn't have a lifestyle brand. What do you make of all of this?
She is just a joke. I mean, come on. Like, there's every time I see something else about her, like I'm waiting for her to launch something. Like, she has no products. She has no. Her website isn't even launched. I mean, nobody knows what her brand is even. Also, what a knockoff brand that she has. Her Netflix show was was straight out of 2015 Pinterest with her rainbow fruit art. I was waiting for her to teach us how to make macaroni art, and then she has her podcast coming out. That's this hashtag Girl Boss movement from 2016 that I'm just like, at what point is she going to get with the times?
Jen?
Honestly, I couldn't stand it. It was the disingenuous, false product she was trying to show to the world there that really insulted me. And I thought, if she was just there and she was like, look, guys, I don't cook. I've got a chef who cooks for me. This isn't what I do at home. This isn't what I wear when I'm at home. I don't, wear expensive up top, cheap down bottom. And yeah, I don't prepare these, what are they called? Those, what does she call them? The vegetable bowls, platters.
Crudités.
Yeah, crudités. She doesn't do any of that at home. She doesn't make bar salts for her guests. But was just totally straight up. Instead of hiring people she barely knew to come onto this show, then maybe I would watch it and tolerate it. And if she was her total self, but it was embarrassing to watch. It's terrible.
You don't believe that she has her bee farm in her backyard and then goes and gets wax and brings the wax into the kitchen and makes candles from scratch?
Oh my God. I'm sorry. My 2-year-old son could do that. It was ridiculous. It was, the words can't explain it. And I thought it might get a bit better. So I carried on. because I had Paula on the show after episode 2, and I was like, oh God, this is terrible. We'll watch a bit more later on. And I stopped watching it. And then one of my friends came over and she put it on TV, unfortunately for me. And there I was again. But I found I was hooked on how bad it was. So that says a lot about me as a person. Not disgusting with myself, being hooked on watching that trash. So I think I need to go seek therapy.
Yeah.
How far did you get? One viewer wants to know, Jen. How many episodes?
Yeah. I got to the end.
Did Prince Harry come into it in the end?
Yeah.
I didn't actually see him on there, but he does allegedly. But
Yeah,
it's
in the end episode, and her mother features. How far did you get, Zack?
I couldn't make it past the second episode. I went to,
it was
I
a
did
real
episode
struggle,
1.
wasn't it?
Yeah, episode 2. Mindy Kaling wasn't like, they did a whole part, like a whole kids party, and then at the end there were no kids, and I was like, what is this sad party with all these balloons, and it's just the two of them in this awkward scene. They both have children. Like, that was the crazy part, is they both have kids. They're putting together a children's party, and then there's no children.
I just want to see her real. I want to see her in her real kitchen with Harry. You know, we don't need to see the kids because, understandably, who wants their kids, you know, on screen? That's total privacy respect there. But just the real her, regardless if she is a total cow in real life, people want to see it, and they probably love her for it. If she was like blunt as day, I'd watch it. I'd be like, yeah, I respect that. But lack of respect because she just put that shit together and put it out online.
Yeah, I think to your point, if she had just been real, if she and Harry had been there, and even if she were in her sweats or whatever, and they were cooking breakfast together in the kitchen, like, yeah, you're right, we don't even need the kids. But like something as simple as that, I think people would have appreciated a lot more because they would have actually gotten to know her. But nobody believes that she's cooking in this all white beige outfit with this $1,500 cashmere sweater, and she's just mixing up eggs with Mindy Kaling. It's like, it's so like out of touch and ridiculous. And
cooking wearing white without shoes, which is anti-hygienic. That nobody, if you're in a kitchen, nobody will ever. What if you drop a knife? I mean, she'll benefit from cutting one of those ugly toes off. But I mean, she's walking barefoot, which is unhygienic. What is, like wearing silk stuff, like Zack says, cashmere and stuff like that. It's just like cooks like that, and the way she ridiculed Mindy Kaling when she said, look. Remember we did that story with the maid, Sean, that the maid said that Meghan Markle used to mock the Hispanic accent.
Yes.
Remember that we had that, and because we interviewed that maid, and that Meghan Markle used to mock, they were, Hispanish, the staff, right, the domestic staff, the servants, if she wants to call them like that. So she would mock them because they couldn't say, Her Royal Highness Princess Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex is like a mouthful. And she used to make fun of their accent. So when I saw that with Mindy Kaling, I'm like, and I don't know why they left that in. Why do you think they would leave something like that in? Because it looks bad, doesn't it, Zack?
I mean, I secretly think that the producers and the editors couldn't stand her. And so that's why they leave all of these little things. Like somebody even pointed out that when in the first episode, when she was making the popcorn with the full cob that she puts into the microwave, that they didn't even catch that when she pulls the popcorn out, that there's actual popcorn that's already on the counter, that it made it look like that popcorn was homemade out of the microwave, and it wasn't. So there were just a lot of those little things. I mean, and even like the moment with her and Mindy Kaling with the when she's like, tell me about your look, and she like mocks her in that. I think a lot of those moments that don't make Meghan look good, you can tell like the editors could have very easily scrubbed that and given her the best possible edit, and they did it. And I think it's obvious that they don't, because they probably didn't like her. I mean, we heard that there was reportedly 80 people that she had working on this show, which is insane.
Can you imagine if there had 80 people, Zack? Can you imagine if we had that budget and 80 people? Can you imagine what we do with that? Oh, please,
we would produce a good show.
Yeah, yes. And what do you think of her podcast? Because I got some news, Sean. I don't know if you guys know this, But you know that I don't know if you know Prince Harry's ex-girlfriend,
Which one?
Cressida Bonas.
Chelsea.
No,
Sorry?
no, Cressida Bonas. Cressida Bonas. Here, I'm actually sharing this with you.
Oh, okay, it's done now.
I'm actually, oh my goodness, I got it up to 557. This is Cressida Bonas. And this is, she's launching a podcast, which is Lessons from Our Mothers. And she's actually lovely. She has proper A-lister Kate Winslet.
Who helped shape who they are today. As mothers ourselves, we are curious to explore the valuable lessons we carry forward, the ones we choose.
She's there, and I mean, I left a comment, and she so kindly replied, this is so lovely. Thank you for sharing. And she had like 400, and I just did a live with P Dinah, and she got a bunch of subs from that. But she's launching a podcast about mothers. It's called Lesson from Our Mothers, and she's launching on March 30th. And she's very beautiful, Zach. I don't know if you know her. And even in People magazine now, they're showing her. And guess who one of her guests is in the podcast?
Meghan Markle.
No.
No.
Look, I'm sharing this right now. This isn't People magazine. If you're sharing, I'm sharing you that screen.
Eugenie.
Princess Eugenie is one of her podcast. The Shade. Look how beautiful. This is his ex-girlfriend, Zach. I mean, Harry's known for loving blondes, so I don't understand what he's doing with Meghan Markle.
Yes, because his first ex was it Chelsea David?
Yeah. Don't you remember when they asked him, "Oh, your girlfriend is from South Africa," and he said, "Yeah, but it's not like she's black or anything." You didn't know that, Zach?
A lot of naughty things Harry did, yeah. But yeah, now he's sort of, freedom rights person of interest.
Good for him.
But what do you think of the podcast? What do you think is going to happen? Because she's in Lemonada right now, but nobody knows who the guests are.
I mean, does she even have I don't know. I mean, nobody wanted to come and do her Netflix show, so I don't know who she's really going to bring to the table. I mean, it's kind of just a rip off of her last podcast that she did at Spotify, Archetypes, where it's like, I'm going to sit down with women and I'm going to pick their brains and their archetypes in the industry. And we went from archetypes to female founders, which is also strange because, I mean, I don't know what makes Meghan Markle a female founder. I've said, she founded herself a royal prince that she's never met before. She founded racism in the royal family. Like, I don't know what else she's going to be founding these days, but I don't know who's going to want to come on her podcast. She used all of her cards for Archetypes, and that was a complete flop. That podcast bombed, and then she didn't even get her full money because Spotify fired her.
I heard that she has her wedding gown design.
Oh God! Nobody cares. Who cares about the dress design? Who's like, yeah, let me listen to nobody cares.
No, but I mean, Cressida Bonas has Kate Winslet, who's a proper A-lister, Oscar. Mary Berry, you probably don't know her. She's huge in the UK. Yeah. She has other huge A-listers that are coming to talk to her because her family, her mother is aristocracy, British aristocracy. Her mother has the title of lady, just like Lady Diana. Harry's mom. I mean, it would have been great to have Harry as a guest there talking about his late mother, don't you think, in her podcast?
Who do you think's disliked more then, Blake Lively at the moment or Meghan Markle?
Ooh, I mean, they're both kind of fighting for the crown. I feel like Meghan Markle is kind of unanimously disliked, whereas a lot of people are torn with Blake Lively at the moment because they want to do this whole, believe women and we want to believe that she's a real victim. So I think people are conflicted with Blake Lively, whereas Meghan Markle, everyone's kind of just determined she's insufferable at this point. So I think she takes the lead.
Viewers, put a 1 in the chat if you think Meghan Markle is more disliked. Put a 2 in the chat if you think Blake Lively is more disliked. We are with Zack Peter, and I'm going to put the link to his YouTube channel in the live stream chat. It is just plain Zack. Got almost 1,000 watching across all platforms, so please subscribe to Zack. We've got Paula's link in the description box. We've got Jen has her own channel as well. And we have got tons of questions have come in. I see all the ones coming in for Meghan. We got tons of questions coming in about Meghan for Zack. But before I go over to the viewer questions, then Paula and Jen, have you got any more questions about Meghan for Zack?
Well, the thing is, though, I was going to ask it because you know that podcaster that supposedly received Amanda Hirsch, right?
Mhm.
I had to do a live yesterday, and
Oh,
Sean,
yes.
yes, I did a live yesterday, and I swore like a sailor, because I have, like Amanda Hirsch is a podcaster, right? But then I found out that her producers are Dear Media, and they wrote this article, which I did a live just now with P. Dinah. And it's actually, I found out that it was ghostwritten by Meghan Markle. It was written on March 6th by Dear Media. And then because people were asking, why did this woman send Amanda Hirsch a letter, right? And there's no address. It's like hand deliver. How would she get her address? And then when you read the article that she wrote, oh, it's ghostwritten, it's pretty much horrific towards the royal family, especially to Princess Catherine. She calls her Katie Waity, all kinds of things. I mean, yeah. At one point she goes, the Kate. This is then, and then she addresses the name controversy, right? But the Kate Middleton hypocrisy. This is from Dear Media, which produces her podcast. She just had Ryan Reynolds, and she's a pro Blake Lively stan, right, Zach?
Mm-hmm.
And then, and this is what she wrote about Princess Catherine. She says, speaking of, let's talk about the inevitable Kate Middleton comparisons. When With Love, Meghan hit Netflix top 10, the first thing the royalists started squawking about was that Kate married for love, while Meghan married for status and money. This is interesting considering Kate never had a real job, followed William around throughout university, and even changed her major to be closer to him. The woman dedicated her entire early adulthood to securing that ring, even as the man is William, plowed through countless girls and college flings, earning her the Weighty Katie nickname. This is Meghan. And this is the worst part. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle had an actual career before meeting Harry and downgraded her life to live in antiquated royal accommodations because she genuinely loved him. She downgraded her life. You think
Wow.
I'm kidding?
Wow.
I've done 2 videos. If I had money, I would have broken my laptop because I was so furious.
I mean, who believes that? I mean,
I mean,
she's downgraded her life now because she went from the royal family and now she's had this fall from grace. She turned her and Harry into the royal refugees that had to seek, asylum in Tyler Perry's mansion here in California. Like, it's insane that they positioned themselves, like, their fall from grace is crazy. Like, she took him out of the royal family and then now she suddenly wants to be a duchess again. But, she suddenly, what did she give up her acting career? It wasn't even that hot of an acting career. She was on Suits. She wasn't even like the main character on Suits.
she did 138 minutes in all 7 seasons altogether. That was her contribution. They were counted by George the Giant Slayer. He took a hit for all of us and watched the series. And I'm serious. He counted. You know how George is, right? And he counted that it was a little bit under 138 minutes for the 7 or 8 seasons she was in. So that averaged to 1 minute and 27 seconds per episode out of the 45 or 46 minutes.
Wow. So will there be part 2 to With Love then, Zack?
Yeah, so it was already greenlit the pickup was for 16 episodes. So I know there were a lot of headlines that came out and like, oh, Meghan Markle gets a season 2. It's like, no, she was guaranteed a season 2. She was guaranteed a total of 16 episodes. They just only released the first 8, but to my understanding, they've already filmed all 16 of the episodes. So whether the first 8 did well or not, which I mean, I know they made the top 10 for like a hot second. They couldn't even keep the top 10 for a full week, but they grazed the bottom of that top 10 chart on Netflix, but it didn't perform as well as people want to believe that it did, because it's like the show was boring. It just, there wasn't anything special or unique or exciting about it? Like, I don't know. Did you watch it and be like, yeah, let me go and spend $250 on fruit to make this platter?
You mean you don't like to sprinkle flowers on your
Everything. She was just sprinkling flowers on and everything. And then
I
her
think it
jam.
was
Her
nothing
jam, all the
special.
desserts.
Meghan was
Jam.
there.
Jam.
How dare you? Meghan was there. That's what made
Mm.
it special. Every single person who came to that show said that she was so special and beautiful and you know, it's like when she sees Delfina you would think that she saw her for the first time. Oh, you're so tall. I'm like, you know, girl, if she's your friend, you would know she's tall. You know, it's kind of one of the things you'd know. You know, it's like when you mentioned it, Zach, when you said that she found that her best friend, the hairdresser, is left-handed on the show.
I know, right?
Or when she's like, I'm going to make him his favorite snack. I got him peanut butter pretzels, but let me write peanut butter pretzels on the bag just in case he's allergic to peanut butter. It's like, you just said peanut butter was his favorite snack, and then you want to be mindful in case he has a nut allergy. And then people were like, she was just saying that in case somebody else ate the peanut butter pretzels. I'm like, one, peanut butter pretzels, they're pretty distinct. You can smell the peanut butter and you can see that the pretzel is stuffed with something. So you would presume peanut butter, number one. And number two, the whole point of her making this basket was for her friend Daniel, who was coming over, and this was the basket for his late night snack when he was in the guest room. So it was specifically made for Daniel. So the whole nut allergy thing was dumb. Like, I can't.
Right.
The
So,
main
Sean,
question.
get on to the questions. I want to actually interrupt. Zach, you seem top of the game on the celeb news. Have you seen Kanye's latest rant? Obviously, we've got to be careful of the wording.
Right.
His accusations, obviously, of Kim Kardashian being a sex transporter, as Sean would call it. On his latest, I was like, careful with that one. His latest steal on Twitter. What do you think of that?
I mean, that's why. Yeah, she's she's an astronaut. She transports people to and from space, according to Kanye. But so, I mean, the rants. I feel like he's just been very erratic lately. Obviously, we know that his mental state's kind of it's hit or miss. He likes to go on these Twitter rants. I mean, the Kim Northwest Tate brothers, you know, the shots that he's taken at Jay-Z and Beyonce's kids, like it, I mean, the whole rant was just kind of wild because not only did he accuse Kim of that, but then he was upset that I guess Kim Kardashian owns the copyright to the kids' names, which was a decision I guess they made when they first had the kids, was that they were going to trademark their names, so that when the kids grow up, they own the trademark to their names and they can make products or whatever they want to do, whatever business ventures they want to put out there. I mean, it is interesting because you hear the Kardashians and is it Lou Taylor? Why is the name blanking in my head? Their connections to Lou Taylor and you know, connections to Diddy. So the Kardashians have very strange ties to very powerful people in Hollywood. That I don't know how deep involved they are. Obviously, I think that the money, I mean, if you follow the money, it's probably going to lead to a very messy place. But I don't know. It's hard to take Kanye seriously because some of the things that come out of his mouth are so wild and wacky. But then at the same time, it's like, but you know, what if there is some fabric of truth to this? Because we've heard some of these rumblings for a very long time. You know, Kris Jenner and all of her churches that she has and all of the connections that she has to all of these really powerful people in Hollywood. Lou Taylor, yeah. WME, yeah. I mean, all of these connections are, I mean, nobody knows what to really make sense of it, but there's a lot of, you know, theories that have been going around for a long time.
And that just proves how surface level Meghan Markle is and how disconnected she is from that inner circle because none of them want to touch her. No one. And then yet they all seem to be, there's always mention of their names, but it's never been publicly outed yet, apart from Kanye's, you know, mental health rant on Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, even if Kanye is telling the truth or not, which I don't think Kim's part of, you know, any, you know, I don't think Kim's an astronaut here, but but was she maybe involved in some shady parties? Was she, you know, rubbing some baby oil somewhere? Who knows? She may have been in the mix. She may know some stuff, right? But she may know some stuff. But I don't think she had an. I don't know if I believe that she had an active role. But the thing is, it's like we don't know what to trust with Kanye. He could be telling us the truth. For all we know, Kanye could absolutely be giving us the truth. But he's so out there and wacky that it's like, how do we even believe anything that comes out of his mouth? You know.
You know, I think rub baby oil for sure. It's Khloe Kardashian. Remember that episode when she's talking about Justin Bieber walking around that she'd seen him like, without clothes and, and apparently she used to be quite of a hit during those parties, wasn't she?
I think she used to work for Diddy at some point.
Wow.
I mean, like I said, they've been aware of these parties, I'm sure. I would have no doubt. Well, then there was also, I mean, I don't know how true this is because you can't track the following or unfollowing, but I guess somebody had noticed that the week that Diddy had gotten arrested, or the week that the raids had begun, right before that, Kim Kardashian had unfollowed Diddy on Instagram, which led people to believe that maybe she got some sort of heads up that the House of Cards was tumbling down. So I don't know. There's some sort of strange connection. People have not been able to make the dots between the Kardashians and Diddy, but
There's
Well,
a lot of
something there.
involved there.
Kris Jenner used to babysit his kids and put pictures on Instagram about him and everything. She's got a lot of pictures with her and Diddy and how she loved them and her. Did she marry that guy, Kris Jenner, or what happened with him?
Corey.
Corey, did she marry her or they broken up or what?
No, they're still together. Well, people don't even believe that Corey's really her boyfriend. They're not married. They're dating. I mean, there have been rumors that Corey Gamble's gay, and that he's the one that's actually connected to Lou Taylor. And Corey Corey, when you look into his backstory, there's a lot of questionable behavior there, that maybe he's the thread or the fabric that ties them to certain people, but he's Kris Jenner's boyfriend, which I don't think
Beard. That's what it's called. Kris Jenner's beard. It's Corey.
Yeah, the beard.
Oh my God! And Harry went skiing with Corey. Harry took a skiing trip.
He
Yes, he did. He went skiing with Corey about a year and a half ago. And Meghan took a skiing trip with some of the girlfriends. They didn't ski together, but he went with Corey skiing. Yeah, and I mean, Kris Jenner, it's been with Meghan Markle's stand. She got one of her jams and she promoted it in her stories. So there seems to be some sort of, and Khloe Kardashian is featured in Dear Media, who is the producer of that podcaster, Amanda Hirsch. Khloe Kardashian is just doing a podcast or a show and Dear Media is involved in that. So there's a lot of Kardashian links to Rachel Meghan Markle. Also, there. And did Kim Kardashian get married?
No, I mean, she's been married before. She
Yeah,
was,
like a ton of times.
yeah,
No,
she's
no,
married
no. I
3
heard that
times.
she got married lately. She got married again, no? To a young
No.
guy or something
I
like
don't
that?
think, not recently.
No? Oh my
Mhm.
goodness.
Not
And
that
and
long.
it's gonna be interesting to see because also Chrissy Teigen has a podcast. Have you talked
Yeah.
about that on your channel, Zach? About Chrissy Teigen's
No,
podcast?
I heard that she was launching a new podcast.
Which is supposed to be a safe space for people. This is like one of the worst bullies in history kind of thing, It's terrible. I find everything is terrible with these people. And I wanted to ask you something about Justin Baldoni and Blake. I know I'm sorry guys, but I really like it. It's just that did you see is it if they settle without an apology, is that gonna be good for Justin?
I
Do you
don't
think
think he'll accept a settlement without an apology. Because I mean, what good is the money if your reputation is ruined? You know. And if
Mm.
anything, if she doesn't, I think if she settles without an apology, her team will spin it into being like, oh, well, the only reason we settled is because the law doesn't protect women and it's a fixed system to, support abusers, and they'll twist it in some sort of way. So I think he either has to win with a jury or he has to get her to issue an apology. But I think those are the only 2 ways he settles this.
That's actually absolutely juicy. I don't know. I mean, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I really want to see Taylor Swift text messages,
Me too.
right? I mean, we won't get to see booty calls though because she won a partial order, right, Zach? And she applied to have like a protective order, but she
Yeah.
also
So
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a protective order, but Blake was fighting for what's considered an attorney's eyes only protective order, which means anything that comes up in discovery can only be shared between the attorneys, and they can't share any of that information with their clients or discuss any of that information with their clients, which it was highly unlikely that she was going to get that. But she was trying to say, I'm a victim and my mental health. I don't want things about my medical records to get leaked in the press. And Brian Friedman, who's Baldoni's attorney, is like, we don't care about your medical records. Like, we don't even need to see those. But so she did get her medical records and her security measures and trade secrets that aren't related to the movie. So any business dealings that don't have to do with It Ends With Us, those all get protected, as well as certain private details for third parties. So while we are likely to get some sort of tailored text messages, they're only going to be related to It Ends With Us and her involvement in that. So if she's texting about how, last night Travis was crazy in the bedroom, Travis Kelce, we're not going to hear about that. Those her booty call text messages will be protected.
That's terrible. That's
So we're not going to find out how Travis Kelce is in bed, unfortunately.
a Wolverine. Do you think that we're going to see something weird about? Sorry, I always call him. I feel like calling him Hugh Hefner. But
Jackman.
it's Hugh Jackman. Yes. We're not going to see anything, or we're going to see some text messages between them.
We'll likely get a deposition from Hugh Jackman. I don't know if we'll get any text messages. I don't know what correspondence he may have had in relation to It Ends With Us outside of the promotion, but he was very much involved in, the comedy skits and bits that Ryan Reynolds was doing to promote It Ends With Us, which was really weird because Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman aren't in the movie. So it was strange that they were even producing social media skits for it at all. So I'm sure we'll get a deposition for Hugh Jackman. We'll get a deposition for probably Bradley Cooper, because Blake Lively thanks Bradley Cooper in the credits for It Ends With Us. And we're told that Bradley Cooper and potentially some other A-list stars were part of this advanced private screening that Blake Lively held about the film before it came out. So we'll have to wait and see.
This is literally going to be juicier than the Johnny Depp Amber Heard court case where everything got dragged out. I cannot wait.
100%.
I'll get my Meghan Markle's fake popcorn out.
We have all these other stars that are dragged in too, that it's like, it's going to be, this is so much bigger than Depp and Heard.
Can you imagine Taylor Swift walking into court? Just that's gonna be brutal, because Taylor Swift is trying to get herself. She hasn't been seen with Blake Lively in a while. She's no longer her drag, and I think she was like, "Bitch, if anybody, you're my dragger, not the other way around." You know what I mean? Taylor Swift.
The dragon flew away.
Right, guys, I've got to leave this stream as Sean and I know my babysitter, aka grandmother, is upstairs and she's got to head off. But it was lovely to meet you, Zack. Lovely to see you again, Paula, and I'll see you all shortly.
Bye. I wanted to ask you something, because do you think that we were talking about Diddy singing about, or giving other people up? And you know that Jay-Z just won, I don't know, a dismissal from this lawyer. How familiar are you with that? Do you think that Jay-Z is at all involved? Or why hasn't P. Diddy given these people out and gotten out before? How involved do you think Jay-Z is?
I think we would be naive to think Jay-Z had no involvement in any of this. I think Jay-Z has absolutely been involved. He's been aware. So the case that he was just dismissed from, it was a really tough case to begin with, because it happened in like 2000, 2001. So it happened well over 20 years ago. There weren't too many details. The person wasn't willing to come out publicly. They just claimed that this incident happened and it involved 3 celebrities, one of them being Diddy, one of them being Jay-Z, and then an unnamed female celebrity was also present for this alleged incident. So Jay-Z ultimately got dismissed from it. We don't know why. Probably because there wasn't strong evidence to really tie him to it, aside from, the victim's testimony. So he was able to get dismissed from that. It was an uphill battle to begin with, but I would imagine if one comes out, eventually we'll probably see a lot more come out as well.
So you do think that do you think that we'll see Jay-Z come, or do you think there's gonna be a trial, or do you think that he's gonna settle especially because you mentioned that there's politicians involved. Or do you think he's going to make it, or do you think he's going to be like the man on the island?
I think, well, that's the thing. If he's like the man on the island, then I think it's a little obvious. Like there, it's just too obvious if that's what happens. Um, I don't know. I could absolutely see Diddy taking a plea deal to turn on a bunch of people. He's still gonna get some time. Like there's no way he gets out of this scot free. So I would imagine he's still gonna have a sentencing and he'll have some time to serve. But I would think he's gonna take a plea deal to name names. But then again, also, I mean, if they seized all of these alleged tapes at his house, then I don't know if they even really need his testimony at this point. I don't know if that holds a lot of weight because if the tapes are there, then they have the evidence they need to to go against the people that they want. Um, I don't know. We'll see. I don't see Diddy getting out scot free, but I definitely see him cooperating to turn on some people.
Because Jay-Z was gloating all over the internet about the big win he had over this Jane Doe, or I don't know, whatever it was. And it's like how he wants retribution, and, like, and I was like, God, this guy and Justin Bieber, what the hell's going on with Justin Bieber? Do you think there was something fishy with Justin Bieber? Did he?
Yeah. I think it's obvious with Justin Bieber now. When you really look back at some of his behavior and the involvement of Usher, like there's something that went down with Justin Bieber. What those details are, I don't know if we're gonna know that information anytime soon. But just seeing the place that he's in now and his mental state right now, like you can just tell he's really battling something that I would imagine those old demons are now starting to come forth that he's having to process, especially now that Diddy's, behind bars and he's trying to compartmentalize, stuff that I'm sure he's suppressed for a long time.
That's terrible to get the mother hand over her child for a weekend to somebody like Diddy.
Yeah.
And the song, you got that yummy, yummy. Apparently it's supposed to be you got that young me, because it was him who was served in a platter. I heard some YouTuber said that yummy, yummy, because it didn't make sense. The song, well, you got that yummy, yummy. And then this YouTuber said it could be you got that young me. But, he didn't
Mm,
wanna say that because he's sitting at that table and you see himself being young, so it's, he looks like a mess, doesn't he?
yeah.
He's lost
He's
a lot
not
of
doing well.
weight, and he's got issues with Haley, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, there are rumors that they may have split or that, they're not in the best place. And again, I would imagine that a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's trying to process everything now, whatever happened before is now starting to come to light and he's having to face those demons. And so I don't know how helpful Haley can be in that. And then Haley's going through her own stuff right now with people saying that she's connected to Selena Gomez, or like she was trying to copy Selena Gomez, and like she
Well,
like intentionally came after Justin Bieber. So I don't know, but it doesn't seem like their relationship is in the healthiest place right now.
I just don't know why Justin Bieber won't declare against Diddy, I think he would be doing a huge service to victims, if he came out and spoke. Because he's so high profile. Why do you think he keeps quiet?
I think he's scared. He was really young when he was involved with Diddy, that I'm sure there were a lot of like scare tactics that were influenced upon him. And two, I think he's probably embarrassed. There's a lot of shame that's involved with these types of cases that I would imagine, there's an element of shame with him not wanting to accept this and then to come out publicly and say that these things happened. Like that would be really challenging for him to face. I think ultimately the public would be on his side and would support him unconditionally, but it's still a lot for him to process.
He was so young. He
Yeah.
was really, really young. I saw him in Oslo when he gave that impromptu concert at the Opera House, and the girls had JB, and I was like, "What the hell is JB?" They had the JB on their foreheads. They were almost fainting. They had to literally cancel the concert because he was that popular. I mean, the girls were fainting. You thought it was the Beatles, and
No.
to think to think that now he's not singing anymore, is he?
No. I heard he has new music that he's like working on or teasing. I don't know if that's true or not, but we'll
And
see what
Mila
happens.
Kunis and what's the name of her husband, Ashton Kutcher? They're also related to this little Diddy
Mm.
thing, aren't they? I haven't seen Ashton Kutcher for a while. Have you? He's been very
Not
quiet and low.
Not since it came out that they were defending Danny Masterson, who they co-starred on that 70s show with, and he, obviously he was convicted. But since they found out, it came out that they had written letters of support for Danny once that came out, and they had to publish that video about it was a very strange video, and it kind of felt like they didn't even want to post the video, but they kind of were forced to address it, and they were annoyed by it. So since that whole thing went down, they've kind of been laying low, and we haven't heard from them at all. Because then people were starting to dig into Ashton Kutcher's past and some of the things that may have gone down when he was a young guy in Hollywood, and so I think they just decided it was best to
And
lay
his
low.
links to Diddy too, because apparently he was very, very well acquainted with Diddy. Oil parties
Yeah.
too. Like him and Demi Moore, because he was
Yeah.
married to Demi Moore at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It's quite unfortunate. I wish Diddy would speak more about who these people are, so we can, be able to report honestly on it. I don't understand why they won't just say something. It's just driving me crazy. Just. But
I
anyways,
think
I
they're
have to
still
go.
scared.
I
Yeah.
have to go because I have to go and get my dog fed and stuff like that. But I thank you so much for having me, and I'll see you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, what day is today? Saturday or Sunday? Today's Saturday.
Saturday.
I'll see you on Monday
Saturday.
then, Zach. I'll see you Monday,
Yes.
Zach. Bye-bye,
Oh,
guys.
thanks, Paula. Cheers. Please subscribe to Paula's channel. Link is in the description box. We've gone over an hour, Zach. Have you got time to answer some viewer questions? Because tons
Yes,
have
of
come in
course.
for you.
Let's
All
do it.
right, let's zip through these then. Perhaps the most common one is: do you think Harry and Meghan are going to divorce?
Yes, I don't think they're gonna last. There's no way they're gonna last. I mean, then we had rumors that she was shopping around a divorce book, so she's already weighing her options, and I think she's definitely gonna leave him at some point.
Princess Carlisle is asking, why do you think Prince Harry's visa has so much redacted?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, he's well connected. I don't know what he would be hiding, but there's clearly something that he's wanting to hide if there's a lot of redactions in it.
All right, let me see. Yeah, that's come in a few times, that question. Do you think Lady Di is rolling in her grave, not in a good way?
Not just rolling. I think she's banging her head on that coffin door. I think she is just like completely, I mean, you have one kid that's doing really well, and then you have, Harry, who's just kind of lost, and you're hoping he finds his way.
All right, we are going through the viewer questions, folks. If you've got any final questions, get them in the chat now. And please don't forget to subscribe to Zack's channel. Let me get that one in the live chat again. All links for Zack, Jen, Paula M, all the channels are in the description box if you're watching this on replay. And there's Zack's link in the live chat. All right, next question is from Katz. Do you think Martha Stewart has watched Markle's show yet?
No, Martha Stewart does not care about Meghan Markle. She is scum on the bottom of her shoe. Martha Stewart doesn't even like Gwyneth Paltrow. That she's not paying any attention to Meghan Markle.
Does Prince William have a side family? That's from Shah.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean,
don't
he
think so
probably
either.
stepped out. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, listen, cheating scandals in high profile families like the royal family, maybe he stepped out, but I don't think he has a secret family.
Harry was quite the rebel in his youth, including the far right costume. Do you think he'll rebel again?
Probably. I think he clearly has mommy issues, and Meghan Markle and her control over him kind of gives him some sort of safety and security, but that's only going to last so far. And he's going to have another rebellious teenage phase, I assume, will come at some point, and that's likely when Meghan will leave him.
Becky wants to know if you reckon Harry has checked out.
Completely. I don't think I think he's so. I mean, he's given everything up, and what does he really have here in the U.S.? He doesn't have his family. He doesn't have his friend unit. He's kind of just here, and all he really has is Meghan. And I think he's just on autopilot now.
We've never had this question before. Emma wants to know if you think Meghan is linked to the CIA.
No, I don't think she's that smart.
Have you been listening to Candace Owens' take on the Baldoni versus Lively case, and what are your thoughts?
I have. I think Candace has done a really good job of covering it. I mean, she's gone on a few wacky theories, like she's really gung ho on Ryan Reynolds being gay, which I mean might not be wrong. We've heard rumors about him and some of these other stars in Hollywood, specifically Hugh Jackman, who he's really close with right now. So maybe, I mean, who knows?
Have you read Spur? I listened to the audiobook.
I did too. Yeah, I did. Some very strange parts of it. The second part, the middle part, the second part was really long and boring. But yes, I did read Spare.
It was, yeah, I agree. It was torturous. So Lionheart, do you think Prince Harry should be kicked out of the US because of the drugs charge?
No, and I think President Trump has already made it clear. It was really funny with what President Trump said by, what did he say when people asked if he was going to deport Harry, and he said no, he's got enough to worry about with his wife, which I thought was funny. I think Harry's fine for now.
All right, what was I? I've lost track. Do you remember the Suits crew arriving at the wedding in Windsor?
No. I mean, I didn't really care for them then. I mean, I didn't follow them closely, Meghan and Harry, at that time.
Did Meghan send Tyler Perry a jar from her first batch of jam?
I sure hope so, because he saved them from, the treacherous waters in Canada.
Alison wants to know, do you get any threats from covering these topics over the years? I'm a big fan.
Probably. I don't pay attention to the mean comments, though. They're just
it's a sign of success. All right, so Leslie, do you think Harry fed Meghan the hate about his family and she has run with it?
No, I mean, my analysis of their relationship is, I mean, maybe Harry's had some things I think Meghan's like a super therapy person. And she's probably like, Harry, you need to go to therapy and deal with your childhood trauma and da 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 da. And so there are certain things that she's probably exploited. So yeah, I don't think that he was intentionally trying to poison her against the family. I think she didn't like the expectations of being in the royal family, and she didn't like that she wasn't widely embraced up front. But I mean, come on, you're an actress from the US, that you're a Hollywood actress, that I don't think they were ever going to really take you that seriously up front until you kind of earned that respect, and she ultimately didn't. And so she ended up taking shots at the royal family herself.
Yeah, those Disneyland castles she watched as a kid were way too polished compared to what she ended up in. All right, so Becky, could Blake lose any royalties from the movie?
I don't know if she's getting any royalties from the movie. It depends on what her contract is. I think she was paid an upfront fee and she's already been paid. That kind of seems like her standard contract, is she just takes the money up front. So I don't think she's making any royalties off of the movie. I think Baldoni's making the royalties now.
Zack, what do you think will happen to Ronge?
I don't know. I think it's kind of just dead in the water right now. I don't know if they're going to bring it back. I don't even know how they can bring it back. I heard maybe they'll do some spin-offs, like a Gorga spin-off and a Teresa spin-off, and see, let that poll the audience to see what the audience is most interested in watching, but we'll see.
Folks, get your final questions in now. If I've missed your question, please repost it. Princess Carlisle, do you think it's strange that we had the Diddy stuff coming out and then the massive fight in LA, and then there was a theory that the fire may have destroyed some evidence?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of different theories with the fires. Was it to destroy Diddy evidence? Was it to build a smart city in LA? I don't know. I mean, listen, I live in LA, so I was watching the fires as they were unfolding, and I was very critical that these fires were not just happenstance. This wasn't, just climate change. The way that they were popping up, the distance between the fires, it definitely felt like there was something more. I don't know what that reason was, but I don't think that it was to burn Diddy evidence. I think whatever evidence they do have, they probably already have.
Will Kanye be the next to go to jail?
I wouldn't be surprised. Jail, or they're going to commit him.
Ronnie Rue wants to know, do you think Meghan will attend her own father's funeral if he passes away?
Ooh. I don't think she'll attend the funeral, but she'll find some way to make it about her. She'll issue a statement, she'll write a letter, she'll do some sort of publicity stunt around it. But I don't think she'll actually attend.
Ariel and Leslie Sloan, attorney morality. Is any legal bod trustworthy?
I don't know. Well, we'll have to wait and see how the Sloan case plays out.
Thoughts on celeb hairdresser passing away?
Oh, which one? I mean, there have been kind of a couple of them. But if it's the one that I'm thinking
The recent
about,
one was to do with J-Lo.
J-Lo and Kylie Jenner.
Yeah.
I heard it was like some sort of like illness, like that they had been sick for a while and it just kind of took them out. I don't know. It's a little fishy because like Kylie Jenner was just posted on Instagram like 2 weeks prior, and then suddenly they passed away, and then Kylie Jenner covered all of the expenses and all the funeral expenses. I don't know. Something sounds a little fishy there, and I'm surprised that story just kind of went away.
Right. Any final questions, folks, including Bailey? Please repost. Gene Hackman, what do you think about the circumstances of the deaths of him and Betsy?
That was interesting. I mean, it kind of just, I don't think that there was any like shady business going on there. It kind of just sounded like she had passed away. He had Alzheimer's. I don't think he really knew what to do, and she was the caretaker. And unfortunately, it was just a series of unfortunate events. I think that one was unfortunate, but that's why, like, call your parents, check on them, make sure you're checking on them because they were there for a while.
Yeah. All right. We are at the end, my friend. Do you want to just, is there anything you'd like to say to the viewers in conclusion, and what can they look forward to on your channel in the coming week?
I mean, we're now, once we get through these motions to dismiss, which I think the judge will deny all of them, we're moving into discovery, and the discovery phase is going to be very juicy with the Blake and Baldoni stuff. And then, I mean, we have to look forward to Meghan Markle season 2 on Netflix. Can't wait. Meghan Sussex.
Huge thank you for coming on. We hope you will join us again, and you have a great rest of your day, my friend.
Yes.
All right. Take care. I'm going to close the show and let you go. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye. Oh, what a fantastic guest. Oh, everybody enjoyed that as much as we did. Just to let everybody know, Zack's YouTube link is in the description box if you're watching on replay. Paula Ems is down there as well. She kindly arranged this interview. And Jen's channel is down there as well. And if you're wondering what else we've got this weekend, we have got Ryan Dawson coming on tomorrow at 1 p.m. to talk about Hunter Biden being involved in another scandal, the bombing of Yemen, and the possible war with Iran. And then on Monday night, we've got Jonathan Hay. Remember who we had on in part 1? He's talking about working with Rihanna. He's going to be talking about Jay-Z, Diddy, and Johnny Depp. We've got Bob Marley's daughter, part 2. Zara was on last week. It did really well. She's coming back. She did some stuff with Ron in the last few days, and she's coming back on Thursday night. So they are just a few of the shows we have got lined up. So please look forward to them. And we will. I'm going to be back 1 p.m. UK tomorrow with Ryan Dawson is the next one. Thank you for all your questions, folks.